Welcome to the Hidden Corners, where truth and terror collide. Discover a realm where the lines between the living and the supernatural blur as you embark on a journey to the paranormal and visit the mysterious hidden corners of your mind. From haunted houses to cryptic dreams, psychic abilities to ancient legends, the hidden corners unlock the secrets that lie hidden within the shadows of our consciousness. Get ready to confront the unexplainable and uncover the truth that lies within the hidden corners. This is your host, Ginger Winters, and featuring King's Tall Tales by Justin King. Around the Campfire with Clay Steele, and several guest appearances. Send your stories in to thehiddencorners.story@gmail.com if you'd like your story to be read on The Hidden Corners. The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed as well as some of the minor details, but the facts have remained as I remember them in the hidden corners of my mind. The Mother by Ginger Winters. It had been snowing on and off for hours. The roads were icy, and although the snow actually gave the tires a little more traction, it was a white-knuckle drive back to Tahoe. Not much longer and they'd close the roads. Jim and his wife were driving home from a trip to the city. Traffic was moving slowly, and he hoped he'd make it down Echo Summit before the snow turned any heavier and forced the road closure. He'd hate to have to turn back at this point. He was tired and anxious to get home, have dinner, pour himself a glass of bourbon, and put his feet up. He knew his wife was tired too. She dozed in the seat next to him, occasionally letting out a soft snore. It had been a long day. He glanced over at his wife. She had been his companion for over 30 years, and he felt like he knew her as well as he knew himself. He smiled as he watched her eyelids flicker while she slept. I wonder what she's dreaming, he thought to himself. They'd already made it past the halfway point and were nearing Strawberry, which always felt like the marker for the last stretch home. His wife jolted out of her sleepy reverie and yelled, "Stop! Go back!" "What?" he said. "I saw a woman back there, standing on the side of the road." "No, you didn't. You were asleep. You must have dreamt it." "No, Jim, I swear. I saw her. She was standing on the side of the road. Turn back." "You're just being silly. There was no one there. I would have seen her. And besides, it's snowing like crazy. No one would be standing on the side of the road. Did you see a car?" "No, I didn't see a car, but I saw a woman. I'm not kidding. She was standing there plain as day, on the side of the road. You've got to turn back." "I am not turning back. We're almost home. You were asleep. You must have dreamt it." "Please, please turn back." "No, damn it. Not in this snow. If we don't make it over the summit now, it's just going to get worse. I want to get off these roads, get home, and relax. Now just go back to sleep and you'll forget all about it." "Let's call the sheriff, Jim." "Don't be ridiculous. You know there's no reception up here. You won't get a cell signal till we reach town. And besides, you don't want them traveling up here in the snow just because you dreamt you saw a woman on the side of the road." Susan folded her arms across her chest, a sure sign that she was angry. She pursed her lips and scanned her memory for details. What was the woman wearing? What color was her hair? The entire rest of the trip, Susan sat silent, trying to convince herself that her husband was right. Maybe she did actually dream it. No, it was too real. But why then did her husband not see the woman? It was another half an hour before they reached home. The snow had covered their steps and driveway, so Jim parked in the street and went to grab the snow shovel, while Susan waited in the car. He cleared a path for her, then proceeded to shovel the driveway. She knew it would take him a while, so she went inside and promptly called the sheriff's department. She didn't have much information to give them. She knew the general location and vaguely remembered what she thought the woman looked like, and asked for them to please send someone up there. Maybe she'd had car trouble. The sheriff said no one else had reported anything, and most likely, if there had been someone out there, they would have been given a ride into town. But nevertheless, he'd alert his deputies, and they'd send out a truck just to be safe. The deputy assigned to the call was a bit perturbed at having to drive up the summit in the snow. It was still early in the season, and the snow wasn't too deep yet, but that can change rapidly in the mountains. More than likely, the state would call for a road closure before morning. He drove slowly as he approached the mile marker that Susan had noted and started scanning the tree line for any signs of a car that had gone off the road. He didn't notice any tracks and figured this was just another case of a mistaken waste of time. He was already a couple of miles past where Susan had thought she'd seen someone, so he turned around and drove back in the direction that they had come. He paused as he drove past a few stands of trees that looked like maybe they had had some broken branches. He pulled to the side of the road and threw his spotlight down the ravine. Fresh snow had covered any sign of tracks, but there was no denying that the branches had been disturbed. He decided to get out and take a closer look. The embankment was rather steep, and he didn't want to slide down the ravine in the ice and snow, but just as he decided to turn back, he thought he saw a reflection caught in the beam of his flashlight. He moved his light back and forth a couple of times and still caught the glint of the reflection again. "There's something down there," he thought to himself. He radioed it in, calling for backup, and headed down the ravine for a closer look. As he got closer, he could see a car. It appeared to have cascaded down the ravine and hit a tree head-on just before it would have plunged into the river. He slid in the snow, picking up speed to get down to the vehicle. He looked inside, and slumped over the steering wheel was a woman, pinned between the steering wheel and the crushed front end of the vehicle. She was not alive. It appeared that the impact had more than likely been fatal. But in the back seat was a child's car seat, and a little girl was strapped in, very much alive. The doors were locked. He broke the window on the opposite side of the car seat and opened the door and got the child out to safety. There's no explanation why Susan saw a woman standing on that stretch of highway. The child would have frozen to death if she hadn't called it in. Was it an apparition of the little girl's mother who appeared to Susan on the side of the road? Is that the reason her husband didn't see her? All we really know is that a little girl is alive today thanks to the woman who appeared on the side of the road and the reaction of the woman who saw her.